Hi everybody, I'm Julie Netting and today I am here to, yikes, I don't know, stage fright? I have a different computer set up today and I'm totally disconglomerated, totally. And I'm not getting a chat screen, which concerns me, which is probably a good thing because now I won't hear you all laughing and saying, oh my God, this woman is crazy. Anyway, today I am here to show you guys the new Armoire tag pad, and the computer is on a different side and it's on the left side, which is just wrong for me. So bear with me. Today what we're gonna make is this cute little stand-up tag card, whatever you want to call it. We're going to open the Armoire doors. We're going to use the watercolor pencils, and I wanted to show you a couple other tags that I made without doing anything fancy to the Armoire at all. These are just plain. I didn't cut open the doors or anything. I stamped a little bit on the background of this one in a very similar color to make it subtle, and just added flowers and a girl and called it a day. And I think they're really pretty used, just simple. This is another one with my favorite stamp, Adora. She is adorable, and I did one side of the door open with a little message inside with her. Today I'm going to use, this is from last summer, I believe. It's a Valentine's Day card set with a little girl stamp, or a smaller girl stamp. She's not a little, she's a woman. And it's style 910716. It's probably one of my favorite girl stamps ever. I really like her. I probably should have made her bigger because she's very cute. And the Armoire tag pad. I know you guys have all seen this, so I won't go into it a million, like for forever. But we've got different finishes for the Armoire. We've got some chippy painted finishes in blues and pinks, and then we've got wood grain in different wood tones. So they're really pretty because they're really versatile. You can do a lot of different colorways with what's inside of this little pad. What I'm going to start with is stamping the girl. And I did her in a couple different inks because I really wasn't sure which one I liked better. So I'm going to stamp her again. And I'm going to show you guys, when they start losing their sticky on the stamps that I use over and over and over, I ink them on my table, and then I just place them where I want them, and voila. And she fell off to the side. I use this stamp a lot, so she has lost her sticky power on that. But I have never used these stamps the way you're supposed to, so that's the way I've always stamped. On the inside of this card, I have a little birthday message, happy birthday to you. And I noticed that I did it on just a green cardstock or a teal cardstock. And I thought, maybe I'll do something different. I'm going to watercolor a background instead of using a solid color cardstock. I've got the spring and fall watercolor pencils right here, style 576721. And I have my hair and skin tones 576745. And I'm going to use just a variety of light colors. And in the corner of the paper right here, I'm going to take some pinks, let's see, some light peaches. Here's a really light color. We'll see what that looks like. Oh, maybe I'll do a yellow. And I'm just going to, and I'm winging it, guys. I haven't really done this, so we're just gonna rub on some color. I'm using the sides of the pencil, so it'll be very light. And I'm just kind of making a square of my different peach and pink tones. I'm going to use the watercolor brush, and I think you all know how to use that by now. You fill it with water and you squeeze it to get the water onto the brush. And I'm just going to start brushing and blending this all in. There's no rhyme or reason, just creating a little bit of a color wash. I want a little more pink in here. You can also go like this with your pencils. And a little bit more of the peach. And I have this darker pink that I'm going to put in for a little more color. Because who doesn't like pink? This particular one is really, really, really pretty in the spring. And I'm going to let that dry. And I always keep a cup of water even using this brush because you want to get the bristles clean in between colors. And I stamped some girls. This way I've got, if I make a mistake, I can, you know, go on to the next girl. Because when you're doing watercolors, you will typically make little mistakes here and there if you're like me. I'm just stamped on watercolor paper. The pad from Prima with Jamie works beautifully. And I'm going to hunt down, here she is. I'll put this here so I can kind of mimic what I did. With my watercolor pencils, I normally, now I have them all mixed up, which is not a good thing. When I got them, I take all my watercolor pencils out and I put them in all the browns from light to dark, the yellows light to dark, the peaches light to dark. Then I don't go by this, I go by the lead, and that way I know exactly what I'm looking for. So I am going to start with her skin, and I'm going to take the lightest peach tone, and I'm going to color all of her skin. I'm not going to leave any white. And that is my lightest tone. And I'll show you in a second what I will do next. Then I'm going to take the darker peach and I'm going to create some little shadows, picking my right or left side. And I picked my left. And I'm going to go on every bit of her skin, even the face. I created a little shadow. And I'm going to take my brush, and I usually just run it through my fingers or run it over my pants, because you know I always wear my old jeans when I'm painting at home, just so I can get them dirty with paint and glue. And I'm going to go ahead and blend. The space I'm working in is so small. So I've got that blended. I'm going to do another one, only because this particular one I just stamped, so the ink is running a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead, because we have plenty of time, I'm going to go ahead and do both of these, which I stamped earlier. The ink is dry. One is archival, and the other is a distressed ink. When I do my normal girls, I don't have to worry too much about staying in the lines because I fussy cut them out. But this little girl, I'm going to do more of a bubble cut around her because she's so tiny. So I do have to be careful and pretty much stay in the line.
Jeanette, could you call 208, please? Jeanette, call 208.
And I tried to unplug that phone and couldn't. So hopefully it won't go off too much. I've never actually, I use both inks and I've never really done them side by side to compare. So it'll be interesting to see if there's one that I like better than the other. When I stamp the girls, I do all the watercoloring after the ink is dry. And I usually will use a brown tone ink, because if there's a little bit of seepage, it's okay because it blends right in. And the archival worked a little bit better. I like it a lot better. So I'm going to continue with this one. And I'm going to do her dress in a light pink. And I'm going to take the light pink is from and the dark pink from the spring colors. So I'm going to go ahead and color most of her bodice, and I'm going to leave some white, not a lot, but leave some of the white, and I'll show you in just a second what I mean. Down the center where the light would be hitting it. So there we have the light pink. Hope you guys can see that okay. And I'm going to take this dark, actually I'm going to blend it first so we can get a feel for what it's going to look like. It's nice to practice your coloring techniques on the small card size stamps because they are so tiny, you really can't go too wrong. her skin tone bled a little bit into the dress, but that's okay because when you look at watercolors, they almost always have the color going out of the line. Using this as my little palette over here. I don't want this super dark. So now I'm going to get a feel for the color and go over some of the dress to create, and I'm going on that same left side to create a little bit of shadow and a darker tone. You can see on the finished piece how much darker that is. Okay, now this looks like it's the actual pencil looks like it would be a mahogany, but it's actually a pretty nice deep red. And I'm going to do her shoes. And the heart on her waistband. And I forgot her little headband. So let me get my pink out for that. And I'll do her hair right now. I'm going to do her a little blonde because, I don't know, I always think of pink. I don't know why. I seem to make most of my girls with dark hair, so I try to even it out. Give the blonde some airtime too. So there is the lightest yellow, and then there's it's kind of what I call a dirty blonde color, and you can see it's almost brown. I use that for the texture, so I'm going to go around the outer edges, maybe a little bit in by her neck. She's so tiny that this is not a super huge important step. So there's her hair colored in, and now I'm just gonna, and if you noticed, I don't know, I really squeeze it between my fingers to get a lot of that water out and to make the brush as skinny as I can to get in all these little crevices. Okay, so I did notice that I forgot on the original I used a light teal pencil from another set, and we'll see what's in the spring pack, see what color it is. It's more of a dark, but that's okay. We're going to use that because you can always lighten it up. And instead of coloring it directly, the pencil directly, I'm using my paper as a palette, and I'm just getting some of that teal in the bottom stripe area. And I still have to do her headband, so let's get that pink in. I want it pretty dark, so I did draw it in there dark. Blend it. And now I'm going to cut this out with my big old scissors. And you can see I just, I left the white in between her legs, and I just left a tiny bit, maybe a 1/8 of an inch, maybe less, around the entire stamp. So I didn't have to worry about cutting out the high heels. She has little bows on her shoes. There is no way. I like to fussy cut, but I would not even attempt one of these. It's too much. I have seen people do it, and it looks beautiful, but that would not be me. And just so you guys all know, the chat button is not working. I couldn't get it fixed, so I can't. Carrie will text me if you guys have a question that she can't answer, but she knows everything. She knows more than I know. And honestly, I am not even cutting this out perfect, as you can probably already see. But like I say when I teach classes, you're the only one that sees the little mistakes. Nobody else does. And I like to get rid of that excess stuff. And there we have it. It's not showing up as dark as it is in real life on the screen. So now I'm going to take, we have her done. Let's see if this dried. So what I'm going to do is stamp it really quick. And instead of happy birthday, I happen to need a thank you card at the moment. So I'm going to take a stamp that says Merci beaucoup. Hey, I lost my thing. And this came out of the card stamps that has the Eiffel Tower and the little French girl. So I'm going to leave that. That's done. My girl's done. Get all that organized. And I'm going to use the gray tone Armoire. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut open these doors. So I am going to make a score line on the sides where the hinges would be. And then I'm going to cut around the edges. And I'm using, this is a Stampin' Up cutter and score. And I like the little tiny grid lines because I know I'm getting it lined up perfectly where I need it to be. So now I'm going to make my cuts in the door. And sometimes I don't get them in the perfect spot, but again, nobody notices if it's off a hair. So there's my door. Oh, I need that for the... And I'm going to go ahead and fold it on those score lines. Now, I have stamped on these. I have used bloom spray through stencils, and I was trying to figure out another way to get these decorative without, you know, just a little bit of a different way. And I decided to take the drawers and the panels and put decorative paper on those. At home, I actually have done that with my art studio furniture. So I thought it would be fun to kind of mimic that. So I didn't bring a ruler, so I'm going to have to wing it here. This is a paper, it's coffee time. I did have some already cut. Or coffee break. Did I cut them all? Of course not. And once you get your size that you need, I'm going to use this as a ruler. Because that was the one important thing I did not bring. And look at the size of those drawers. Perfect. Okay. Maybe just a smidge more. They're off, but that's okay. Actually, they're quite fine. With the way these drawers and doors are, they're kind of dimensional looking to make it look like it has molding around. So you have a lot of different spaces that you can cut around, if that makes any kind of sense at all. So you're not, you don't have to be super exact. I'm going to take these drawer fronts and I'm using dark rust to ink the edges. I'll go ahead and do that around the tag. These little white things at the top, you can leave them. I cut them off and I make my own hole. Usually you have ribbon through it. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I just didn't care for it. We'll do the doors. I know you can barely see this, but it does make a difference, as you all know. Okay, I'm going to take my glue stick and glue on the doors. The drawers, not the doors. And we'll go ahead and cut these two pieces. Ink the edges. My little girl's going to be on the right side, so I will have to decide which goes which. Do I want more writing on the side that's going to show, or do I want more flower? Kind of like the writing, so I think I'm going to go with that. Okay, my watch is driving me crazy, the noise, so I'm going to take it off. The chain keeps clumping. So there we go. And there we go. Now, I found one of those coveted pieces of paper. You know what I'm talking about. This came from one of the Lisa Gibbon lines. And I don't know, there's something about the color. And it's barely going to fit, but that's okay. And I could do this with a cutter and be all professional, or I can just do it this way, get it to fit. That's going to be the back of my cabinet. Normally I would use double-sided tape because that stuff seems to stick like crazy and doesn't go anywhere. I forgot it, so I'm going to use my glue stick, which is a good quality glue stick, so it should be okay. And I'm going to go ahead and glue using a napkin because I don't want glue stick all over my mat. So I'll press that down really good. I have a little bit hanging off, so I'll trim that. Wow, I'm being so neat today. And I'm going to take my little thank you, get all the rest of the stuff together. I have to decide how I'm going to cut this. And I'm just going to trim around the edges. So instead of using a solid color cardstock like I originally did, why not play with the watercolor pencils and, you know, see what you come up with. So now I have a multi-color background that blends in nicely with my paper and my girl's dress. And I'm going to stick that in. The inside of the door. So when you open it, there's your little message. I'm going to take my ribbon . I just got my fingers all wet because I want it wrinkly. It's rayon. So I got it nice and wrinkly. And I'm going to find all my little goodies. This is a good way to find any of your old flowers if you want to use that. So I'm going to make a little bow. Nothing special, just an ordinary little bow. Flowers. Take my little girl and I'm going to pop dot her on. These are super sticky. Okay, so I usually use the big squares because they're so much easier, but these little ones are so hard to peel. Okay. So put my little girl here. Guess what I did forget? Oh, my wet glue. And then on this side we'll do I've never glued flowers on with a glue stick. This should be interesting. Now, I did this as a little stand-up card, so you could actually, and I meant to put it the plain side on the inside, so you could write a little message if you wanted to do that. I had a brilliant idea last week. Didn't have time to do it, but what I thought would be so cute, and I challenge you all to this, would to be, how cute would it be to make this exact card with a regular size stamp. So say you used her, on the outside. And then you just stamped a whole bunch of different patterns of her dress. So she had, you know, 5 or 6 dresses. You could do little leggings. You can do all kinds of fun things. And attach them to the inside of the card and give it to a little girl. So she actually has paper dolls. And then you would put the repositional glue dots, the flat ones. They work really well to play paper dolls with. I've tried it. So you can interchange their clothes if you wanted to. And I just thought that would be such a cute little card for a little girl that she could actually stand that up in her room, have the clothes inside in a little pocket that she could play with. Now we have the little knobs. And if you can see, the knobs are just, they're just drawn on super boring little circles that are just ripe for pretty rhinestones. Now these, the Say It With Crystals, I get these in every color that I can grab because I use them constantly. They come in the most beautiful metallic-y colors. And I grabbed this, and then I found this other piece with these peachy tones, and I thought that would be really pretty. So what I'm going to do, and it's a little guesswork getting your drawers on because the knobs are covered, but I just go by the center of the doors. I'm using 2 colors here because why not? If you're going to have hand-painted decoupaged furniture, you're going to have different colors of knobs on it, I guarantee. There we go. So we have, I think I'll put this flower here because I have it. So why not? The flowers are actually sticking. I'm in shock. Let me flatten out that wire. We'll just add it down here. My fingers are super sticky. How about, yes. Just because they're here, we're going to use them. There we go. I actually want this a little more wrinklier. So here we have the finished card. When you open it up, it has the little message, thank you in French, and then I can write what I want in here. And I guarantee you, the person that I give this to, she has an amazing art studio. She's probably going to just stand it up somewhere on a shelf because that's how she is. Now you guys can't really see it that well where you're at, but her dress is really kind of pinky for this paper. So I'm going to take a little bit of the peach that's in the skin tones, and I'm going to just brush a little bit of peach over it. And it's something that's just so minute that I know I'm probably the only one that would ever notice this. But in the end, it just looks better. So you can mix your watercolor pencils just like you would paint. And while I have them out, I'll show you, because there's some time here. You can go over like I did. I went peach over pink and it toned it down. And again, I know that's something that you guys probably aren't going to notice on screen, but let's get some more color down here. You can also take, let's find the pink, and you can see this is really pink and this is really peach. You can also take your brush and create your own colors if you wanted to or you needed to. Because now I have a completely different color of pink than what I was given in my pencil set. And of course, if you did this on plastic, mixing your colors would be a little bit easier. And then I can take my darker magenta that we had and get that into more of a peach tone too. And I just get, you can do that with all your colors. Don't be satisfied with just what comes in the box. And I want to show you up close because it's important. How I left a little bit of white in the middle of each fold of her dress. There's that white for highlights. That's a pretty important step. And it took me, what, maybe 3 minutes to do her dress, if even that. If you were doing this with a Copic marker, it would take you so much longer. Completely different effect, I understand. But the watercolors are super pretty to work with. So it's early and I have no chat box. So now what? Gosh, guys, I don't have a whole lot more to say. I'm mixing colors just to see how. I want you guys to know when you buy a box of these colors, because they come in so many different color palettes, you can not be satisfied, and you can go in and mix, getting a limey green with those. So anyway, that's it. You can have lots of fun with these Armoire tags. You can see there's just a million and one ideas that you can do with them. They don't have to be just closed. Carrie, I have my little chat board on my phone. But and the watercolor pencils, I can't stress enough. And one of the reasons I can't stress enough is because they were an item that I really wasn't sure if people would like. And I don't know if I've told the story about this brush, but when they asked me, should we make one of these brushes? I said, no, that's stupid. Because why would you make a brush that people have to buy when everyone has a paintbrush? I love this brush. I use this brush all the time. I have never found a paintbrush that you can get such a nice fine point and the hairs don't stray. So anyway, I'm glad I wasn't the decision maker when it came to the colors or the watercolors and the pen and the brush, because I absolutely love them. And it's so much fun to play with. You can make your own paper just by doing this and stamping out clothes or backgrounds. And when everything is all dry, which none of this is, you know, you can draw little goodies on. But how fun would a dress be with splotches of watercolors and little flowers drawn on, and then you stamp and you make their clothes. And then you have clothes that nobody else has because they're all using scrapbook paper. So I guess that's going to do it for today. And thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you all have as much fun as I have with these tags and pencils. I know you will. Please, somebody out there, make me a paper doll with clothes and post it on Facebook, because I just think it's the cutest idea. And it probably won't be till Christmas till I get around to doing it. So anyway, thank you guys. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.